All right, I'll be right back. Talk to the cat a little bit. I'll be here in a second. I gotta go get something. I'm gonna change my shirt. Look at that cat, beautiful. A little chilly in here. A little chilly. Yeah, the cat's a. Doesn't Vosh say his cat's a fascist? Artemy, or I think that's the name of the orange one, right? I actually I was talking to in a tweet thread with Bastiat, and he has an orange cat. So I said, "Hey, isn't it funny that all the good streamers have orange cats?" I'm like, "Yeah, all the good ones have orange cats. That's how you know if a streamer's good or not." So there's some decent news out today in general. Something very exciting. Oh, also this was funny to me. So Kyle Kalinske is pretty class reductionist. And it's funny to see him reacting to a news clip saying, "Hey, why is it that 50% of the discourse is Nazi comparisons?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Kyle, finally, you're kind of getting it, you know? It's not a class issue, buddy." This is a funny thing. I said, "What's my cat's ideology?" Something right wing. I've given up on Twitch. No, my internet can't handle streaming to both, so I don't I don't do both anymore. Um, but yeah, this story is really positive. And I said, obviously, thank God Bernie doesn't listen to the dumbasses on this app. We are geared up to start creating real change. So this is very interesting. Per this story, Bernie Sanders has been talking to Biden about the next stimulus package, including an emergency universal health care program, so that anyone can get medical treatment during the pandemic, whether they currently have insurance or not. Now, this right here would be something you force a vote on. 100%. This would do so much for the fight for universal health care. Imagine so many people being able to experience what it's like to have access and not go bankrupt when they go to the doctor, to be able to go to the doctor. This would be such a good like trial run for Americans if we can get something like this done through like a pandemic relief package. Like, oh wow, this worked so well throughout the pandemic. This universal healthcare, this emergency universal healthcare. Why can't we do it forever or something like that? It gets the public more accustomed to it. Yeah, it'd be freaking cool. There's some other stuff in here. Oh, I can't read this, right? New York Times. Yeah. Can I? Nope. I'm sure I can find a different article. 1 second. There's the cat. Look at the cat. Let's see. Bernie Sanders, Biden, emergency, universal healthcare. Universal healthcare. What is wrong with class reductionism? Use incognito to bypass. Can you do that with incognito to bypass the barrier? The thing that's wrong with class reductionism is if you think literally every problem arises from class, you are wrong, basically. We already know it doesn't. Like, for example, a class reductionist might say, if all class issues were solved, then racism would be gone, or something like that, because racism comes from class issues. But if you look at each social class, people in suburbs who make a lot of money have pretty consistent views of Black Lives Matter and of immigration to poor people. Class seductionism. Interesting, Coco. I'm trying to find this. I don't see it anywhere else other than New York Times. But yeah, okay, this is cool. Also, the $2,000 checks, Joe Biden seems to be pretty solid on. He's actually making sure to hold up to that expectation, it seems. We could do that through a budget reconciliation bill, which means you only need a simple majority to get it passed. So usually in the Senate, you would need 60 votes to override a filibuster to get something done. But if you do it when you're doing the budget reconciliation, then you can get it through with a simple majority. This is how Bernie Sanders said he was going to pass, I think, Medicare for All. Or another policy during the primary, because they said, how are you going to get 60 votes in the Senate? And Bernie said, I don't need 60 votes. We can do it through budget reconciliation. So hopefully they push that through when they do the budget stuff. And even if Joe Manchin says no to $2,000 checks, we just need to hold a Republican to it that was for it because of Trump. So either Graham or Josh Hawley, he might be, I mean, if he's not kicked out, he's not going to be kicked out though. I wish he would. You know, I wish he would leave, but he's not gonna. Or who else was for it? I don't know. Was Ted Cruz? He's on the hot seat too. But yeah. Okay. Nico House is another fun topic. Oh yeah, I saw Biden also said he doesn't care about deficit spending. He will spend. Dude, that got me so happy when he said he's going to spend money. Holy crap. The Democrats need to be aggressive. That $7 trillion deficit Trump got us from his terrible tax plan, we need to spend that money on the people. I looked into that stuff cloud, that executive action stuff for Biden, and it's really sketchy, like legally. He can, in theory, do it, but it would be extremely challenged. And the prospects aren't that good. Like, for example, Joe Biden, if he wanted to cancel all debt, it's really complicated as well through executive action. There'd be a big legal battle with that. But anyway, Nico House. If she's influential enough regarding AOC to get on Vanity Fair, and she can get a crowd, then she can force Medicare for All. Anyone who says otherwise is merely complicit in the suffering of millions or invested in their brand. So a lot of tweets started going around saying like, AOC is the reason global warming isn't solved. AOC is the reason my boyfriend broke up with me, because Nico House blames literally everything on AOC, no matter what it is. I think he said AOC is similar to George W. Bush, or AOC is similar to Kamala Harris, which is freaking laughable. Yeah, this was the quote that started, it started the entire thing. If AOC fought as hard for Medicare for All as she has to impeach a president who's leaving in a few days, we'd have Medicare for All in a week. Oh, temporarily expanding Medicare, you mean, Cloud? I got you. I thought you meant the other stuff you sent me. Oh, I'm just laughing at them now. It's to the point where they're completely, like, we were talking about these people as if they were regular conversation partners before, but now they're just total lunacy. What else do I got? A Glenn Greenwald thing came out. Oh, this too. Oh my goodness. The discussion started several months ago when Twitter labeled Chinese and Russian media state-affiliated without doing the same with state-owned BBC, DW, VOA, etc. It absolutely made no sense except if you take it that Twitter is an arbiter of truth. So, there's a big difference. Oops. There's a big difference between state-affiliated and publicly funded. When all of your news is ran and given and directed by the state, that is different than a separate organization being funded by the state and owned publicly. That is completely different. So China and Russia media, their media is state affiliated because they are basically megaphones for the their extensions of the state. BBC's not. They're funded by the people. Totally different. Oh yeah, 2 Capitol police officers. This was a big story as well. These officers being suspended for their alleged involvement in the riot, which is scary because that means there are tons of people on the inside. But as we know, You want me? You want state media? I want Trump media. Can't wait. Where's the Glenn Greenwald thing? This right here. I went past it. So Glenn Greenwald is a conspiracy theorist, reactionary, anti-liberal, whatever. Really big ego. Oh boy. Do you know how many people arrested in connection with the Capitol invasion were active users of Parler? 0. The planning was largely done on Facebook. This is all bullshit. This is a bullshit pretext for silencing competitors on ideological grounds. Just the start. Now just think about it. These people storming the Capitol, do you think they might use Parler? Do you think at least one of them might use Parler by chance? Glenny doesn't think so because he's a, raging narcissist. And apparently, he spent the weekend reporting on the removal of Parler from the internet, including, but, Gizmodo mapped 70,000 geolocated Parler posts and isolated hundreds from January 6th near the Capitol. Okay. Glenn, I quit in principle, Greenwald, yeah. NPR copyright striked me once, so I don't like them. Trump's speech earlier today was essentially him going to the wall and signing it. Oh, here we go. This was tonight, too. Glenn Greenwald and Glenn Beck on Crackdown. The end of free speech. My goodness. All the Republicans on all these networks telling everybody, telling the entire world how they have access to no communications. I cannot stop hearing about these people who are, I guess, censored or whatever, or muted. Somehow I can't stop hearing about them. Erica America News Network. That rhymes, too. Freedom of suffering it. Nah. NPR won't have Chomsky on, really? Oh, Cat's asleep now. Good night, Cat. There was a extension of Section 230 proposed today. To basically, this is kind of funny. I think what what Republicans wanted to do is extend First Amendment rights to you being able to be on social media websites. So Twitter can't ban you from their site. They are forced to house your information with what Republicans want to do. I don't want the government being able to force private platforms what is on their platform. I don't want the government doing that. If we want to do a democratization of a media company, maybe something open source, I would want to be for that. Maybe publicly funded media, but not state-led media, not state-mandated anything. That's authoritarianism. I'm not for authoritarianism. At this rate, these corporations have done a better job managing their own services than our government could have anyway, when it comes to what's on the platforms. And I'm sure you all saw with Vosh today talking about Candace Owens wanting to sue. She wanted to sue Facebook for, I guess, muting her or something. That is the new line today. By the way, I'm going to try dark mode today for the microphone. 1 second. Oh, wait. The cat's covered. 1 second. There you go. You can see the cat now. All right. Dark mode. This is dark mode. Yeah, Section 230 repeal was about holding social media companies liable, but no, they want to amend it. They don't want to repeal it now. They want to amend it to force companies to have certain things on their platforms. You can look it up. I don't have it pulled up right now. But anyway. Did you hear that people on the left hacked Parler and got terabytes of information on everyone on the site? By the way, oh my God, it's so funny that to be to be a Parler member, like an official Parler community citizen or something. It was called something like citizen or something. You had to put a picture of the front and the back of your driver's license. So everybody on Parler put a picture of their driver's license, the front and the back on there. And now all that data is out there, basically. What is Sam Cedar's proposal to amend 230? Can anybody tell me that? No, you could post to Parler, but if you want to verify your account, it's like a verification. If you want like a check mark by your name or something like that, you had to put your driver's license in. I think somebody... Wait, did somebody put their social security card in there too? They wanted some type of official verification on Parler. But yeah, what's Sam Cedar's Section 230? Did anybody ever use Parler, by the way? The interface on that thing is gross. It looks like an app from Grand Theft Auto. Like on your little smartphone on Grand Theft Auto. That's basically Parler. And the posts on there are the same, basically. Every single comment section. N-word, 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 N-word. Jews. 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 Pedophiles. Hollywood. Limiting algorithms to keep 230 protect. Yeah. Algorithms need to be fixed. Right now, these companies know what the algorithms are doing. Any consequence of these algorithms after they already, this is intended, it should be on them. People don't get radicalized from Donald Trump to Ben Shapiro to Crowder to Milo to Nick Fuentes by themselves. Yeah, I think they put Social Security. Yeah. Sam talked today about the need to separate the profit aspect of media. Yeah, well, journalism back in the day wasn't for, bare bones profit. It was for a lot more than simply making money. So was, like, health, too. The shift in America from the 70s, from after the civil rights movement to now, has been terrible. It's like the civil rights movement happened, and they're like, all right, freedom's done. We're going to go full cronyism. Anyway, we have this happening right now. Really interesting. 25th Amendment debate. I don't know if we have any stars on here.
Office. For the sake of our nation's security, this precedent must be swiftly removed. Mr. Speaker, democracy is a gift one generation gives to the next.
Oh, yeah, by the way, Pelosi made a fine for being on the floor without a mask. So I think it's $500 for the first fine, and it's $2,000 for the second fine. And it can't be paid with, you cannot pay it with your campaign funds or anything. It comes out of your paycheck.
We must defend it.
Expired.
Thank you, and I yield back
Gentlelady yields back.
my time.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to oppose...
Oh, there's Boebert. There's the Colorado girl, the gun girl. The Colorado one that tweeted 1776 on January 6th before the insurrection. There she is. Oh my God, she's insane. She's been arrested like 25 times.
Another Democrat witch hunt.
Yes.
We should take Democrats at their word when they say never let a good crisis go to waste. While Section 4 of the 25th Amendment has never been used, a plain reading of the text coupled with the context of its ratification contemplates a very different scenario from the one we are currently in.
Look at that mask.
It envisions a president's disability resulting in serious illness to injury. To suggest it should be used in a different context violates the very intent of the 25th Amendment. To be clear, this resolution is a divisive political stunt which would have no force of law and is a waste of our time.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Mr. Speaker, this resolution is a clear overreach, as invoking the 25th Amendment is not something Congress can initiate, and this must be initiated by the executive branch. Democrats talk about unity, but clearly that's just talk, as their actions only further divide us.
Unity.
Their hypocrisy is on full display this week with this 25th Amendment stunt articles of impeachment censured.
Yeah, she actually got held up at the doors because she wouldn't go through metal detectors, and the guards were like, hey, you can't do that. You got to go through the metal detectors, and they wouldn't just let her through, and she threw a fit because, you know, when you never work an actual job in your life, when you have a bunch of privilege and you're crazy, you don't understand what it's like to actually have to go through a process. So I think she eventually went through the metal detector because she's all big about, like, I'm going to bring my gun into the Capitol building and shoot people, like all that stuff.
Bills and other efforts to try to punish Republicans for false accusations of inciting the type of
False
violence
accusations.
they have so frequently and transparently supported in the past. Throughout 2020, we witnessed Democrats welcome, encourage, and even normalize violence. For them, violent riots were effective in advancing their agenda.
The gentlelady's time has expired. The gentleman from Ohio reserves. The gentleman from Maryland.
Nice job, Lauren. Yeah, we reserve.
Speaker, very quickly, the gentlelady whom I've not had the pleasure to meet yet confuses disability and incapacity. Franklin D. Roosevelt was in a wheelchair. He had a disability, and he was one of our greatest presidents. President Lincoln, according to historians, suffered from depression, but he was one of our greatest presidents. Incapacity
Really?
is
I didn't know
different.
that about
Incapacity
Lincoln.
is demonstrated by President Trump's complete, total inability to conform his conduct to the rule of law and the Constitution. I yield 1 minute to Representative McBath.
Gentlelady from Georgia, Ms. McBath, is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
At least I know I'm related to Lincoln in a way because we both have depression.
I came to Congress to make sure that no parent ever experienced the pain that I have. I came to Congress to fight for children who've practiced active shooter drills at the same time that they're simply learning how to read, for families who've lost loved ones to gun violence.
Wait, is this the fun guy?
Members of Congress.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that hair.
Matter of conscience. I support the distinguished gentleman from Maryland's resolution.
So you have him from Colorado, and you have that other lady from Colorado. Really interesting. Must be like a gerrymandering job or something. I don't know how she got elected in Colorado.
Pray that the vice president will honor his oath.
Reform the VA and reduce America's involvement in foreign wars. Now, I join the bipartisan caucus condemning the violence that we saw at our Capitol, but the hypocrisy is just downright disorienting.
The Black Lives Matter.
President Trump called for protests that would be peaceful and patriotic. He got labeled a national security threat. Yet the gentlelady from California can call on her supporters to get physical and in the faces of Republicans, and she gets the chairmanship of the Financial Services Committee. Republican members of Congress utilized a process contemplated in the Constitution to offer an objection, and we were labeled seditionists. Democrat members of Congress raised funds for groups attacking our police, burning our cities, destroying our businesses, establishing autonomous zones, and they were celebrated as justice warriors.
Oh, it's one of those things where Colorado is really blue in cities and then everywhere else is red. Basically every freaking state that's that isn't like... Actually, that's pretty much every state, right? Really blue in the cities and red everywhere else.
Wednesday, they called for unity, democracy, and healing. Now, just days later, seeking power and political advantage, the Democrats have reverted to the mean. They've gone back to their natural state, the party of impeachment, removal, and division. They're about to have unified control of the government. Maybe they'd use this time to preview an agenda for the American people.
Oh my God.
Now,
Republicans didn't even have any policy agenda going into this election other than Trump. Literally at the RNC, all they had on paper was, we're going to follow Trump's lead. Democrats had nuclear energy on there. They had a bunch of healthcare reform. They had a bunch of infrastructure reform. They had all this shit to get done. And Republicans literally handed in a blank piece of paper during their convention saying, we are going to follow Donald Trump.
Times the 25th Amendment was invoked, it was to facilitate a colonoscopy. Now they're using it to facilitate a transition to Joe Biden. How weird. Why? I'd call it virtue signaling, but there is no virtue in it. This removal effort isn't for America. It's for them, for their ability to showcase and wield power. And we see the power of cancellation and removal
Cancel
on
culture.
full display in America today.
It's simply cancel
Forbes
culture.
magazine has called for White House officials to be shamed and unemployable. ABC News has called for the cleansing of the Trump movement. I don't know what that means, but talking about cleansing our fellow human beings sure is scary.
What?
Big tech has driven consumers
You support
and
the white
conservatives off of
supremacist.
monopolistic
White supremacist.
platforms. And then when we created our own platform, Parler, it was nuked from the internet altogether.
Because
The
there's
gentlelady from
Nazis
New
on
York
there.
was
And
booted from a
violence.
Harvard advisory
And a
board
lot of
because she
N-words.
took an adverse position on electors that had been taken by every single member of the Congressional Black Caucus in 2001. Cancellations for some, celebrations for others, for doing the exact same thing.
Same thing. No difference
President of the United
whatsoever.
States can't tweet or post on Facebook, but we
You
know
know,
from Project
like the election in 2000 that was decided by like 500 votes in one state is very similar to a state in 2020, or not a state in 2020, but an election in 2020 that was won by the Democrat by 7 million popular votes, and also in the swing states, the Democrat won by like over 10,000 in every occurrence. Apparently, those are the same thing. 2000 and 2020. Okay.
Project Veritas that the principal counsel for PBS can call for the government to steal children
Yeah,
from
die in
Republicans
Minecraft.
and throw Molotov cocktails at the White House.
Wait, what?
We
What
should
happened?
offer that the principal counsel for PBS can call for the government to steal children from Republicans and throw Molotov cocktails at the White House.
Who did that?
We should allow America to heal before America is lost, but that is not happening today.
PBS
Plus 30 more
Molotov
seconds.
cocktails.
The gentleman is given 30 additional seconds.
The deal now is House Democrats
This is like if you're in a relationship with somebody and you ruin the relationship and then you demand the person who you like ruined to say sorry. It's really extreme gaslighting.
just want in on the act. That's the purpose of the resolution today. They want to show you that they can still tear things down. I guess over the next 2 years, we'll see if they're capable of building anything or anyone up. This is a deeply unpopular impeachment.
Okay, so this person he's talking about from PBS fires lawyer over hateful rhetoric after Project Veritas undercover sting. So, a public broadcasting service lawyer was fired Tuesday after being caught on undercover footage by Project Veritas making cracks about throwing Molotov cocktails at the White House if President Trump won re-election and taking away the children of Trump voters if he didn't. As a mid-level staff attorney, he did not speak on behalf of our... Okay, what person from Project Veritas had the idea to tape a PBS mid-level staff attorney? They probably didn't do it, though. They probably got the tape sold to them by someone who did. Because there's no reason why they would do that. A PBS mid-level attorney? Why?
The public wishes we were here dealing with coronavirus, not the virus of Trump hatred that you seem to have found.
Oh my God,
no
what a little
vaccine.
baby. Oh my... Dude, really? This is such a little bitch boy thing. He's crying.
Unpopular impeachment. The public wishes we were here dealing with coronavirus.
Oh my God, imagine him saying this too. The public wishes we were here dealing with coronavirus that I think is fake. I'm only wearing a mask right now. I'm only wearing this mask to avoid a fine.
Not the virus of Trump hatred.
The virus
that
of
you
Trump
seem to have
hatred.
found no vaccine.
I thought we were going to do something for the coronavirus, but instead we're dealing with the virus of Trump hatred. And there's no vaccine. That's literally that's what he sounds like right now.
I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Ohio reserves. The gentleman from Maryland
Little
is now
victim.
recognized.
Oh, clap for the baby. Clap for the little baby that stood
Thank you
up.
very much, Mr. Speaker. I heard one of our colleagues say it was the fault of the mob, not Donald Trump. But who summoned the mob? Who created the mob? Who assembled it? Well, you don't have to trust us if you don't like what you call Democrat members. We do prefer Democratic members for the new ones. But how about this? Listen to the chair of your own conference. The chair of the Republican conference, Liz Cheney, said The President of the United States
She
summoned
did.
this mob,
Liz Cheney.
assembled the mob, and lit the flame of this attack.
Can the Republican Party survive all of this? My friend was asking me earlier if I think they can survive it. I don't know. Electorally, they can because of how our system works. Because of how our system works based off land representation and, you know, the Senate and the Electoral College, Republicans can still survive.
Everything that followed was his doing. None of this would have
Liz
happened without
Cheney
the
is the
president.
deep state.
So you can hate the Democrat members all you want. That is the chair of the Republican conference, Mr. Speaker. I yield 1 minute to Ms. Maloney.
New York, Ms. Maloney.
Make sure
the
you
chair
all
of
drop a
the
like on the stream,
Government
by the
Oversight
way.
Committee is recognized.
Thank you, Mr.
It's
Speaker.
mandatory.
Like all of us in this chamber, the Vice President and the Cabinet swore in their oaths of office to protect and defend the Speaker.
The gentleman yields back. Reserves. The gentleman reserves.
Mr. Speaker,
Ooh, Jim Jordan.
Speaker, I'd ask for a recorded vote.
Pursuant to Section 3 of the House Resolution 8, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic
Okay, so here's the
device.
vote. They can record their votes by electronic device, but we can't vote by electronic device? Wow, double standard.
The House is voting now on a resolution which would urge Vice President Pence and members of the cabinet to use the 25th Amendment to remove President Trump from office for his actions ahead of and during last week's attack on the U.S. Capitol. This will be the final vote of the evening. The House back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern to consider a resolution of impeachment on President Trump for, quote, inciting an insurrection against the U.S. government. One note on the amendment on the resolution tonight, the vice president himself has written a letter to Speaker Pelosi telling her that he would not invoke the 25th Amendment and pleading with Congress not to go through with the resolution this evening. On the impeachment side of things, some
Wait, 59 yay, 49 nay. Who's speaking right here?
Member designated by
Oh,
Congressman
Hakeem
Brendan
Jeffries.
Boyle. Pursuant to H-Res 8, I inform the House that Congressman Boyle will vote yea on H-Res 21.
Oh, so they bring it in like...
Purposes,
Okay.
gentleman from Michigan seek recognition.
Mr. Speaker, as the member designated.
The member designated by Mr. Gonzalez of Ohio, pursuant to...
Oh, shit. Oh. So what happens? Okay, what happens at that point? I don't know what happens. Is someone going to tell us what happens at this point? I don't know. Mitch said, yeah. Mitch McConnell said he wants Trump to be impeached. He thinks if Trump is impeached, it'll make it easier for Republicans to reclaim the party and get Trump out of there. Get him away. I don't know if they're going to explain what happens now. I don't know how resolutions work, if it goes to the Senate or whatever. So Republicans, only one voted yeah. So which one voted yeah for the resolution? Is that Murkowski? I think she said something about that. Okay, so impeachment's going to start Wednesday, tomorrow. Impeachment starts... Oh, look at the cat. The cat's here again. So impeachment starts tomorrow. That's going to be an interesting display. I actually saw some people really get moved, by the way, by the procession for the cops that got killed during the entire thing. And also, the video got shared around of the cop being beaten to death with an American flag. That got a lot of people's brains to change when it comes to how they're perceiving what's happening. Yeah, look at the cat. Look at the cat. Look at him. He's sleeping. Having a good old time. Good old time. Yep. You love that they're voting to request that Pence do something he's not going to do. Yeah, but a big thing right now when it comes to this vote is really the public support. You know, like Republicans need to put a good show on, Democrats need to put a good show on. That's why you can never underestimate how much democracy actually does matter. Even if your votes, oh, the cat just moved. Even if your votes are not going to be directly instituting Medicare for all right now, giving that public pressure to politicians really changes how they're going to act. Like all these Republicans need to act this way to keep somewhat of a Trump base because of how powerful of a base he demands. And for example, Bernie Sanders, the support he has, the hard support for Bernie, was really used by him to get Biden to do things like push for $2,000. Hey, Socialize Bass. Yeah, so $2,000 and also extended health care for the duration of this crisis. Yeah, the resolution is just to ask Mike Pence to do it, and he's going to turn it down, right? And of course it'll pass. So they spent the whole day talking about something that isn't going to actually pass. But, you know, that's politics for you. That's politics for you. Katie's moving. Yeah, this is the real content. I wasn't going to stream tonight, but I'm bored. A little dip. Pence is based. Oh, Coco is a random thought generator, I think. It's actually a bot. That Coco account is owned by a computer. No, I mean a good bot. In a good way. Always has something interesting to say. Trump being sleepy as hell, they probably drugged him up. It's funny because they took him down to the border to sign his name on the wall, and he got to brag for like 20 minutes. So I feel like it was a appeasement of his ego, like I said earlier. It's really good for his ego to be able to do that. Bot shaming. If we could get Nazis to not storm the Capitol again, that would be great. Well, get ready. It's coming to a state near you. FBI already reported it. They have plans. They have guns. They have bombs. They have the anarchist cookbook. You know what that is? Anarchist, is it survival guide or cookbook? It's not cookbook. Anarchist survival guide. It teaches you how to build bombs and stuff. I used to have an anarchist professor in college, and he got arrested for cooking meth with it. Is it cookbook? I could look it up really quick. Anarchist cookbook. Okay, yeah, anarchist cookbook. It's not survival guide. Wait, someone was charged for having this? Can you not own this book? Is that illegal? Is it illegal to own this? Documentarian says anarchist cookbook author was filled with remorse. Black cover, white letters, or blocky white letters. Instructions for making your own explosives. Read this book, but keep in mind that the topics written about here are illegal and constitutes a threat. Also, more importantly, almost all the recipes are dangerous, especially to the individual who plays around with them, knowing what he is doing. Use care, caution, and common sense. The book is not for children or morons. He was 19 when he wrote the book during the height of the Vietnam War protests. Since then, the anarchist cookbook has sold more than 2 million copies. It's linked to the Columbine shooting and the Oklahoma City bombing, as well as other acts of violence. He died in 2016, but the media wasn't notified. Huh. Okay, well. Yeah, you can make meth and stuff with what's in that book. What's all made up? Way back in the day. I know somebody who has it. Is it illegal to have it, or can you have it? I want it for some reason. I want to read it. I'm not going to use it for anything, but I want to have it. Oh, boy. Stop objectifying me. It's not illegal. Okay, good. I'm going to keep that in hand. Keep that handy, you know? In case if I ever need it. That Jolah, oh my god. It is legal? You won it, but you're a moron? And it said I can't have it then? You're saying the cookbook is fake news? Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I know somebody who used it to perfection, so. Not in the bad way. In the good way. Making drugs. Good way. Okay, I'm gonna put this, I'm lazy. So I'm gonna grind out my my basketball game. 1 second. I'm gonna put this Destiny clip on. It's legal, but you'll get added to watch lists. Buy the book under someone else's name. Like my cat. Look at him. Look at the cat. He's stretching. He's a stretching cat. He's getting comfy. He's licking himself. He has his little bow on. His little bow tie. Wake up. Cleaning himself. Yeah, lick your palm. Lick your paw. Oh, yeah. This is what I watch. Meow. Hey, wake up. What did Erica say? What did Erica delete? This audio out of context. Yeah, I mean. Cat doing hella cute shit. Okay. Trying to get the cat to look over here. Won't work. Hello, cat. Welcome. He just stays there. Just wait until I get a video to go viral. People are gonna love this cat. I need something to go viral though. I'm planning my attempt. Why I left the right. Yes, cute baby. Thank you. Thank you. Drop a like for the cat. Always. Shit, let me get this set up. This cat is high. That catnip. That catnip hits hard. Good.
I think that the spiritual trip at this moment is
Therapy
not
dog.
necessarily a cave.
What is this? This Charles Manson? Marilyn Manson is worse than Charles Manson, of course, for our youth. Scary music. Okay, I'm gonna put this, I'm gonna steal this content while I play some. I should buy the cookbook and read it out loud so I get arrested? No. This is how you make a bomb. You add this, and this is how you make meth. Okay. Here's how you make a shiv. Here's how you make you know, that'd be fun. A pipe bomb. Okay. Cat, why are you twitching? What's wrong? No, don't lick that. Don't lick. Oh, I have to take this off screen. I have to take it off screen. Oh no, I cannot have that be shown. Who is DT? I don't know who DT is. The CIA is watching. Domesticated cats are the apex predator to demons. DT is your biggest fan. Who's DT? I can download the PDF. I'm not going to maybe I'll go to a public computer and download it at school or something. Dirty Trump? No, who is DT? I don't know. Want to see my basketball guy? Does this look like me at all? Does this look like me at all? Look at him. Does it look like me? He's a bit short. Better hairline, for sure. Yeah, he has too much hair. I'm gonna buy hair. By the time I'm 26, I'm probably gonna buy hair, just to be honest. I'm not gonna let myself go completely bald. Okay. Let's steal some content. Let's hang out and listen to this new Destiny video and talk about it. What's happening? Keith Olbermann. You watched Keith Olbermann's latest YouTube video. It's a fire take on how Republicans can heal our nation. I'll look at it tomorrow then. I better use what? Better use stuff now I am using stuff. You can't just stop it. I mean, I'm slowing it down. It's all right. I'll be able to keep a consistent amount. It looks worse now because I can't get it cut at all. By the way, if you are a person who is balding, don't let your hair grow out. It looks bad. But I'm not going to get my hair cut until I have to go back to school. So I'm going back to school mid-February. So I'll be here at my home base until then. And then I'm going to think about getting a... I'm going to try to use my current laptop to stream. But if that doesn't work, then I'm going to buy something else and sell this one. Heavy on the facial hair. Oh, I have it muted.
Last couple of years. Here is some random shit. I'm curious because Melina pointed this out. Okay, I'm curious for my European bros. So we hear a lot about unaffordability of education and all that shit, which are definitely problems.
There's me coming out to win.
Here's something that I don't know if this is true. In the United States, our average state schools are
oh yeah, baby,
massive. And apparently that's not very normal in Europe. Now, I'm going by literally Melina and one other person has told me this, so maybe that's not true. But here's an example, okay? Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here, all right? What's massive? Let me give you an example. So I went to college at a place called the University of Nebraska.
Honestly, even really tiny schools have super nice facilities and everything. In the US, we spend so much money on stuff like that, on equipment for working out and stuff like that. So much money from your tuition goes to things other than actually educating you. For example, if there were no administrative boards at all at colleges in America would cost only around 20% of what they cost right now. But there's so much wasteful spending going to the top people in that college and also to things like architecture. A lot of money goes to that. Even with donations, a lot of money goes to different facilities and everything. Really amazing, right?
At Omaha. None of you have ever heard about this school before. It's in the state of Nebraska, and it's not in the capital city, okay? It's UNO. This is the gym of my old college, okay? I think it's called the Hyper Building. This is our gym.
I think that the spiritual trip at this moment is not necessarily a cave in the Himalayas, but it's in relation to the technology
No! He goes crazy at the end of this?
This is our This is like our pool.
On what?
This is from my state school. For the UNO.
I don't want to live near tornadoes. I would hate that.
This isn't like super uncommon. It's called, it's not called a hybrid building anymore? Yeah. This isn't that uncommon in the United States. State schools have like unbelievable infrastructure. Unbelievable infrastructure. Here's like University of Nebraska Omaha library. Here's our library. This is our library for my school. For my state school that none of you have ever heard of before.
Yeah. That's nicer than my library.
And Melina pointed this out, and she was like, because there's like an itty-bitty fucking building over here in Huntington Beach, and she was like, wait, what the fuck? Why is this so huge? And I'm like, what do you mean? This is like a small, like, random shitter building. And Melina was telling me, like, well, in Sweden, at the very least, like, you don't, there are these massive things. This is the library, the Chris Library, whatever, of our school. She's like, this, you would never find this outside of like a massive major institution.
Yeah,
so
we're
I'm
wasteful
curious, like,
in America.
The rest of Europe, schools are
They're
like
more
relatively
minimalistic than
small
us.
compared to stuff like this, or for sure compared to that. So when I see stuff like this, well, now it makes me wonder when Europeans are like, all of our schools are fucking affordable and shit, and it's like, yeah, that's really good. But now I'm wondering, like, well, hold on, mate, are your schools like our elementary schools? Like, I sincerely wonder.
I wish.
I'm not sure. Show the Elkhorn football arena. Does Elkhorn even?
You had 2 tornadoes miss your home by only a little bit, by a half mile. Wow, that's crazy. I would hate that. I like living where I live. Boring weather. Some snow, boring weather.
And have a school over there? I don't even fucking know. Wait, is that actually a thing? Elkhorn football field, high school football field? Elkhorn high school football field. Oh. Jesus, in Grand Island. This city is going to be like population fucking 50,000. Elkhorn,
Why do we spend so much money on that stuff?
Grand Island population, but Grand Island is
half
far
of
from
us
Elkhorn,
not
isn't
like
it?
half
It's
it.
like 50,000.
Half the exercise places, the gyms and stuff aren't even
this
used
is public school. This is all like state funded.
to full capacity.
Every single
maybe
high
once
school
a
in
year.
America has a feel like that. Yeah, I don't want to use my high school as an example because it was a private school. But wait, what about like
Went to a
West
private
Side
high school? Ooh,
school
fancy.
Football. These are okay. By the way, these are high schools or gymnasium, I guess.
Yeah, I play park. Hey, if anybody, all right, if anybody plays NBA 2K on Xbox, hit me up. I need some people to play with. Or Call of Duty, Ghost. I want to, or not Ghost, Cold War. I want to play some zombies. I love zombies. I want to play some on stream again. Please.
Call them in Sweden. But this is like, this is our high school football field. This is publicly funded. This is our public high school football field. Yeah. See. Okay. Fuck. So now you guys. So now I really wonder. Now I really wonder. Like, what the fuck? Well, wait. What do European schools look like? Maybe that money should go into actual education.
Yeah, you can cross-platform.
Well, on our top-tier public schools,
for
like
Call
the
of Duty.
education is really, really, really good. Somebody can correct me. I don't know if there are any Omaha bros in here. So whenever I was in like a private school, all of our like standardized test scores, what was it? The ITBS, Iowa Test of Basic Skills, and like our ACTs and our SATs, all of that shit.
Your opinion on the "we're not a democracy, we're a republic" take?
We're a democratic republic. I don't know what these words mean. My understanding is democracy means that the people vote on shit. Republic means you have representatives that vote in favor of you. We vote on our representatives. Doesn't that make us a democratic republic? Isn't that what that means? Republic is a form of government in which the country is considered a public matter, not a private primary. Okay, maybe that's not even what, I don't know. Republic means president? My understanding is that the Democratic Republic...
I think we should have no democracy. I think your bloodline should determine if you're going to be leader or not. That makes a lot more sense. Whoever has the most money should be able to lead the entire country, basically. That'd be pretty cool.
Means that we have elected officials that vote in place of us, and then Democrat, whatever. Sorry, okay.
I guess I'm going to find out. I guess Destiny had a hot take at the end of this video. I guess I'm going to find out.
University sports isn't that much of a
About to
thing
find
here.
out, you know?
Well, yeah, so like even... Destiny. Someone tell Destiny that Westside is like the richest school in Omaha, though. He needs to pull up like Benson or one of the First of all, hey, okay, calm down. I'm from Omaha. I know that Westside is one of the richest schools. That's the district that I moved Nathan into. Okay. But like I'm showing, first of all, this is the city of Omaha, okay? It's not like Omaha is a city of fucking millionaires. Well, except Warren Buffett lives
Monarchy,
there for some
yes.
reason, because he lives in Regency. I don't know why. But like generally, Omaha is not like the richest city in the world. But I'm just saying that like this is like from a high tier like public school in Omaha. this is like what we have. Here's a gymnasium I went to, small city in Sweden. Oh my God, dude. Why is it that in Sweden, why do you guys have so many fucking Chernobyl-looking buildings?
That looks
downtown,
scary, honestly.
Your area looks a lot more exciting, but it feels like once you get away from the city center, you guys have a lot of like copy-pasted fucking Ukrainian apartment complexes.
True. I would rather it look crappy or like look boring and actually function well than have like glorious architecture and not have it work. But in America, we have the worst of both worlds, obviously. We don't have good architecture or good function.
I don't know why. It is depressing and brutalist as fuck. I don't understand. Would it be even viable to raise all of our schools to the high tier level? I think that might be incredibly expensive. Yeah, it might be. I wonder sometimes, I don't know, dude. I just don't know anything about America.
Flip a coin on every decision,
mind-blowing
yeah.
to me. I don't understand. I don't know
You like
anything about
brutalism?
everything. It's just so confusing for everything.
I think the implication
I've
of
always loved
brutalism is
sci-fi.
worse.
And the idea of
like the people who like it,
being right on the edge.
not good.
Nice.
Typically,
another thing that I've heard, and I
if
think
you
we've
like it
read
as
this
a
too, is
rejection
that
of modernism,
in order for the schooling systems in a lot of these European countries where education is guaranteed, so in the United States, we always want to emulate. Here's what sucks, and dude, and it all feels so like, now I feel like I'm not giving solutions to everything, is that like, it feels like we have this problem where we're like, hey, the class structure in the US is fucked. Like, well, what can we do to fix this? Like, okay, well, people, this is a waste of time. We can't focus on like money, okay? We need to focus on like getting people good jobs, because like getting good jobs is like a way to like improve your society, your structure in society, like, or your position in society. Like, okay, well, how are you gonna get good jobs? Okay, hold on. It's not actually about the jobs at all. We actually need
Coco.
Like, really good education.
Interesting.
And it's like, this is actually what will like get us like better jobs and like elevate people. And it's like, okay, well, if you throw people in like really good schools or whatever, that fixing it. Well, no, fuck, wait. Well, that's not everything that's gonna help. Like, because like being in a really good school isn't enough. Like you need like good, not housing actually. I should say like household. Like you need like a family that's educated and supports you and can like do all this shit or whatever too. It's like not like, I don't know like where the fixing any of these things like happens, because it seems like everything gets more and more and more and more fundamental. I don't know what the fucking root cause of like everything is. Let me give a more concrete example of this. In the United States, people are like, if we were to switch immediately to like a European style of funding education, things would get so much better.
No.
I don't think that's true, because from everything that I've heard,
You need a different
testing
foundation.
all of those very free, great European universities that everybody in Europe gets to go to, and it's so awesome, blah, 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 blah. Those are fucking hard to get into. It's not like the dumbest fucking kid in every class in Germany.
In
gets
America,
to go to the
anybody
best
can go,
fucking
really.
University. A lot of these people just don't have the opportunity to do it. Like if you don't test well, if you don't do good in high school, you're just fucked. In terms of like gaining, I guess you can go to like a shitter school.
In America, they just want you to go to education, go to get an education in general, no matter if you're ready for it, no matter if it's right for you, so they can get you on a really bad loan, basically, and make you strapped to credit your entire life and debt.
But like, this is something that I've heard because I always have a ton of anti-American takes when I talk to European friends. But then when I talk to people that live in Europe, like I hear this a lot, where it's like, oh yeah, like high school and all of this shit is incredibly fucking stressful. This is mainly from German friends and I think some Swedish friends, but I haven't talked to other people around Europe, so maybe it's different in other countries. But I hear that like high school time and everything is like very, very, very fucking stressful, because you have to test really, really well. Because if you don't, you're not going to get into like a tier 1 school or whatever. I guess in Germany, is it 3 tiers or whatever? But there's like a 1, 2, and 3. That things can become like very selective very quickly. So if we were to just give free education to everybody in the United States, poor people that have shit families that aren't going to like do very well in school are still not going to test into these like free universities. They're not going to make it any farther.
It depends though, because we already have the capacity. We have the capacity to fit those people already. Demand shouldn't be an issue when it comes to how many kids it can house. And the demand we'd be talking about, since education would be free in the system, would be demand for high test scores, for example. But there'd be a higher supply in America than there is in Europe already because of our current system. So I don't think that'd be an issue. A higher supply of available slots for more students.
Like it has to be something more than that.
Good night.
How is this different from Ivy Leagues? You gnome. Well, it's not that
I just
different,
don't
but
want to be a gross white name DGGL.
I guess I don't know, like, how fucked is it if you graduate from a tier 3 school in like Germany, or is it tier 3? Is it tier 1, 2, 3? Am I mixing this up? Wait, okay, so hold on. So somebody tell me if you're right. I don't know how many. In the Netherlands, everyone below 18 has free after everyone pays. Below 18, everyone has free after everyone pays the rest.
But there is no European, like, if we literally had the same exact infrastructure as they do in Europe, yeah, but we don't already. So if we just gave college free to everybody, it'd be different because we have more schools and more rooms for students. So therefore, there's more supply for a demand of, you know, you could have more students go there. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, technically, if we took the exact proportion of students to schooling, as Europe does, we'd have the same outcomes. But as we have it set right now, if we made the current universities free, the demand for people going to college wouldn't increase that much because the standards are already... Like, the thing is, like, people who are going to school right now who are poor would be going no matter what. So it takes that weight off their back. Kids who cannot test into school right now already, you're right, they still won't be able to go. But a big issue right now is letting poor households who can make it to college not have huge debt, right? Or whatever. I think you get my point.
Every single person in the Netherlands just, like, go to the uni if they want to? Is that, like, to any college they want? I guess necessarily they're Hollandaise. I have never heard of
Does Destiny talk about something bad
maybe
later?
They're mixing it up, or maybe they use a different terminology then.
If you want my Xbox name, DM me on
Getting
Discord.
into German gymnasium is not that hard. Well, that's like everybody gets into that. Even in the United States, that's the case. It's free, publicly funded, and everything. It's DCBASSSSS. Okay. Wait, in Germany, you have
that's
SS schools.
True. That's true, and yeah, that's true.
Doesn't that seem a little sweaty?
That's true. That's
the need for all millennials to live in
what's
coastal
happening with your laptop?
Oh, this. Yeah, I just signed.
I guess we'll see. We'll talk about where I'm from.
Okay. Kindergarten, elementary, then you go to one of these 3 types of high schools, and then one of these 3 types of universities. Kindergarten at 2 years old? No, it's probably like year 2 of education.
I need to have a good
Wait,
opinion.
Right? Is it?
All right?
Oh, no, wait.
I gotta have a good opinion when he says that because I need free content for my channel.
Like 2 years or 4
I gotta
years in
disagree.
kindergarten? The problem is, even when everyone has
Look at
free
the shot.
point of view
Bang.
education, those from disadvantaged backgrounds are found to achieve worse grades and have worse occupational outcomes. It isn't simply a matter of education. Yeah, Oxco. That's what I try to emphasize for people because people just don't seem to understand. People just, and I don't blame them, but like suburban kids especially don't seem to understand that making something free at the point of use doesn't really help some people. Like, right now in the United States, if they were to make a program where anybody that has like the brain power and desire can go and get like a free 4 years in school, free PhD if you go and you sign up for it, and they made that free, absolutely fucking free, and they did it, like the most beneficial, like if like somebody like me, like, oh, I could go and run and do that, cool, and then I'm done and I have my PhD. But if you're like a poor person, if you've got a family to support, if you've got like kids or like family members that you need to support.
But it's already,
like, you don't
it's
always
not
have
going
the
to fix the
opportunities to do
problem,
that.
but it
You
makes
get,
it
like, pre-existing
easier.
debt or loans or whatever, like if you're trying to pay bills on a house or something, like you don't have the opportunity to take advantage of free at the point of use because sometimes the cost of the point of use isn't a prohibitive factor. And a lot of people have a really hard time understanding that, which is really annoying.
What's the goal then?
It's
A more
insane because
targeted
these
approach?
conversations on free at point of use education is actually stunting real conversations on how to solve these massive attainment gaps in education
I agree
and
with
social
that.
mobility. Yeah, for sure. And it's also
You know what is crazy too? Okay, PhDs, you can make an argument they shouldn't be free whatsoever, but like a basic 4-year, or at the very least a 2-year degree, maybe first 2 years of college are paid for or something like that. But like one thing that I hate is me as a political science major or social science major or education major, I shouldn't be paying the same price to go to school as someone who's going for engineering or who's going for a science where they take labs all day. Like my education requires me teaching myself a couple books out of a couple terms out of a book. Their education is actually using all the facilities of the university to their full potential. It doesn't make sense that a social degree counts the same as a doctor, like a science or medical. It just doesn't make sense. Like, why am I paying $70K for an engineer or for a poli-sci degree? Like, come on.
Annoying then, because when you want to have real, for instance, like when people talk about like making like education free for everyone, and it's like, dog, the amount of extra money you need to come up with that versus if we were to just like make people that could afford it pay for it, oh my God, there'd be more teachers available, better infrastructure, more school books, like better, like everything would be so much better. But like people are so ideologically bought into one thing. Do you have like ready?
But an argument for universal programs is that they cannot be tampered with as well. So can you do a targeted program that'd be solid like universal system? But, oh boy. The thing is, I agree with him on the principle of this policy, but if you don't make a program universal, you're probably not going to have the necessary political capital to actually get it done. Because if you look at voting demographics, people who make enough money to pay for their education, why would they vote for and push for a policy they're not going to benefit from? So even if you live in a household that makes a combined $150,000 a year, your mom makes $80K, your dad makes whatever, $70K, in that scenario, why would you vote for a policy that only makes college free for people whose parents makes under $50,000 a year? Why would you give your political attention to that? Universal programs have a good way of bringing everything together. Like, for example, you could compare this to Medicaid expansion in states. If you don't have enough poor representation in a state, then stuff like Medicaid isn't going to be expanded because Medicaid doesn't benefit anybody who makes money. Because if you aren't poor enough to be on Medicaid, why would you want to raise your own taxes to give more healthcare to poor people who cannot afford it? Either you have to be freaking morally correct with yourself, or you need to find a way in which you benefit from that as well. Yeah, engineering. No, I hate math. I would never want to do math. Oh my goodness. I do such little work right now compared to my my friends who do like engineering and science and math.
To work high school in the US, like you're 15 and learning to be a plumber or HVAC. No, we don't do any of that type of training. You don't have any you have very, very little specialization exists in high school. So that's like our final 4 years of elementary school, I guess is what we call it. And then you don't really specialize until you get to like year 2 or 3 in college. Like that's when our specialization starts. Trade schools are the major thing the U.S. is lacking. It is, and it is a huge problem. There is way too huge a disparity between 4-year college degrees and people that graduate high school. This is another thing that is very, very, very You guys have trade schools, I'm sure we do, but we don't really. I don't know how available they are. They don't talk about them much. One of the biggest drivers of wealth inequality in the United States are college degrees. And it's very irritating, especially because all of
look at my mask. Look at my mask on here. Look at that, baby.
To their audiences
BLM.
on like Twitter. You hear a lot of these very weird talk.
I forgot I had that on.
Oh, like all this student debt is crushing America. Like student debt is killing students. Like college degrees aren't worth it. Blah blah blah. But they absolutely are. Like college degrees are so worth it that they are like destroying everybody that doesn't have one. It's absolutely unreal what the median earning difference is between having just a 4-year bachelor's and no college. It's insane. Like we're talking the difference between like $2,800 a month here versus like $4,500 a month, $4,600 a month. Like it is unbelievable how valuable a college degree is in the United States.
I'm trying to make sure I'm getting it right. When it comes to EU, they are fucked if they don't get insane grades, whereas in America, at least even with mid-tier grades, you can still get into a well-equipped school through.
True, but even when it comes to that, your opportunities outside of school are what matters. It doesn't matter if you can go to school. That actually hurts you if you get into a school and you aren't smart enough to be there because you're not going to have the connections or the skill to get a job with that degree. Getting people shitty degrees that they shouldn't really have hurts them more than if you had a system where only if you're ready you can go to school or something like that. Maybe we can have like a stepping phase where you have like do 2 years at a community college, get your basic knowledge level down. And after those 2 years, then you can talk about doing more stuff when it comes to education. Your high school had a program that lets kids take trade schools starting a junior year. They expanded it. What is a shitty degree? Anything that you're not going to be able to use. Anything can be a shitty degree. How about anything you're not interested in doing? It depends if we're talking self-fulfillment wise or economically. Like if you go for, I know so many people, for example, who go to school and don't know what they want. No, a shitty degree is not better than a high school diploma because a shitty degree puts you $160,000 in debt if you don't know what you're doing with it. I'd rather have only a high school diploma and $0 in debt and going into the workforce than having $160,000 in debt going into the regular workforce and not being able to find a job with my degree. I don't know what you mean, Surfer Dude. If you want to hop on a call and explain it to me, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, and you've wasted 4 years. I like having more community college options when you're in high school to get some credits done so you can spend less money when you go to the big school. That's a really good way to make sure you spend less money. Yeah, hop in because I don't really know what you mean. I'll open up a Discord quick. Amazing Atheist video about Jimmy Dore? No. I want to see the edgy take Destiny has at the end of this video. If they can't afford community... I want community colleges to be completely free. Like 100% free no matter what. The first 2 years, like, yeah, 100%. Drop out of school and start a business? Yeah, I don't know. But the point is, if you don't actually have a framework of how you're going to use that degree for something, being 160,000 in debt isn't good. They get a lot of kids because a big issue, the predetermined set for many kids is to go to college, whether they want to or not. So they go to college, they don't really want to be there. Since they don't want to be there, they pick an easy degree, maybe business or political science or social sciences or something like that. They don't actually want to do it, and there's no jobs available in the market for it. So they went to a school because they were told they had to go to college. Now they're 160K in debt with no way to get a job. So they go into the regular workforce anyway. They're not using their degree for their job. They'd be better off going into the workforce when it comes to economics. If you want to talk about self-fulfillment and happiness and being more educated, that's a different conversation. But when it comes to bare bones material being, 2440, okay. I'll pull that up real quick. All right, 2440. Oh, I'll talk to Surfer, dude, quick. Hello? What job does a political science degree get you if you work at a Walmart or at a Home Depot or a Lowe's? You're not going to get hired over someone else. I mean, I guess you might at a hardware store if you have a degree in political science or something, you might. What I'm saying essentially is, I would rather, if you're going to go into the workforce in a way that doesn't use a college degree, I would rather not have a college degree whatsoever and not be 160,000 in debt. And I'd rather just go into the workforce at that point and figure out what I want to do. Mic broken. And I'm sick of people who are poor getting stuck in that position because they get signed on to these college loans without knowing what they're really doing. When you're 18 years old, you shouldn't be signing on to a contract that will put you $160,000 in debt if you don't really know what you want to do. If you have a clear idea, sure. But if you're literally going just to go, like just because this is what your friends are doing, then I don't know if that's exactly the best plan of action. Mic broken? Still? Okay, I'm going to look at this Destiny clip real quick. 2440. Zoomers want to live on the coast. All right, so this is supposed to be a spicy take, right? Yeah, community college, universal. That should be undisputably. Because you're not going to be a rich kid going to a community school, most likely. And it should be a universal program. I don't see many arguments against that. All right. Zoomers want to live on the coast.
Usually moms that do that, maybe. Feels like Destiny is missing the standard of living issue
One
that millennials
second.
have. They grew up.
1 second. I have an ad.
Just 60.
There's an ad here. Oh, you fixed it? Okay, I'll bring you in quick. Hello?
Hey.
Hey, I can hear you now.
All right, that's a lot better. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Hey, we on?
Yeah, you're I think you're on. Yeah, okay. So, what did you disagree with me on? I don't understand what you said.
I brought up a pretty hot take, and I'm sorry it was a little spicy in the YouTube chat. I just said that providing access to education, like higher level education, like college and university education, is significantly better than providing like trade schools or just community college education for free. That if we're going to go with the whole universal education program, we should go for higher level, even if it means humanities, basically.
I don't disagree. Like, if we had a universal program, it should include those degrees as well. I'm not saying those degrees should be discounted. I'm just saying, in general, when it comes to their value, if you take an engineering degree versus a poli-sci degree, the return on those things is going to be different. I think both should be done. I just think the university shouldn't be charging the same amount for both of those degrees, because I don't see the same use of facilities being done. I don't see the same faculty demand being done. A lot of times with social sciences, you'll have a stand-in professor for a semester at a school because most colleges don't care about their social sciences. That's usually an afterthought when it comes to political science, philosophy, all that stuff. They might have a couple great professors, and I do know a lot of really good ones, but that really isn't a focus of them. That's all I was saying. Just when it comes to their value.
I think I agree up until the point about the value. I think the movement, especially in the last 20 years, towards moving away from social sciences and discounting their profession as a whole, has played a large part. It's almost like a reciprocal, like a positive feedback loop where society has moved past the importance of like psychiatrists and historians and you know the likes, and that therefore has had a trickle down effect on the importance of social science degrees at a collegiate level. And I think that's not something that you can look past when discussing the importance of free college, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, sure. I think For example, when it comes to social sciences, a sociology class for as many people as possible is instrumental in stopping the spread of racism and racist thought. Like all these universities and corporations and all that stuff talk about microaggressions and racial sensitivity training, but having that one sociology class in college changes a lot of people's perspective on how systems work in general. So when it comes to the value in society that social sciences give, I agree completely. But economically speaking, the opportunity for you to switch social classes based on a college degree, if you're a poor person or anybody in general, to make more money is typically going to be going to engineering or another job that makes you like a utility for a company or something. Because if you go into politics or social sciences, either you're going to be a government worker or you're going to meet somebody along the way that's going to give you a job. But when it comes to, I'm saying when it comes to a lot, but an engineer or a doctor, you're most likely going to be hired more based off your merit and where you actually finish school at. Like you can get a decent job in political science if you know somebody and you're personable. Your college degree doesn't matter as much for these things, as much as your in the field experience does. If college does that for you, great. But you learn a lot less about how to actually fulfill jobs in society just from college alone. Like right now, I need to do so much extra work for political science to make sure I'm ready for whatever the job market is for my degree. But engineering and mathematics, you're usually coming out prepared for something like that. But so yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I mean, I totally agree. Like I'm an environmental scientist, so I'm like the humanities of the STEM field. Like there's still a whole lot of people and even in my field that reject climate change. So it's hard for me to like get a line of work that is, you know, representative of what I believe in. That being said, I don't think it's worth advocating against humanities for people that are interested in that. You know, I respect the realism, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be, you know, challenging to get a job, get a high-paying job, get a job that you're going to keep for a long time. But I don't think it's worth discounting the whole field as a study and as a profession. You know what I mean?
I think the issue is the priming for university that people actually get in America. So as a kid, you're told to just go to university without an actual plan. So that's where the issue arises. It just so happens that social science degrees are the easiest degrees typically to get. You know, sociology, political science, history, all that stuff, social work. Those are easy degrees to get. So if you go to school without a set plan, if you're just told to go to college, that might not be the best plan for you, but you're going to pick a random major that's cheap because that is the easy one to get a degree for. You're told to get a degree, not really directed in a way to use that degree. So in my area, for example, really conservative, rural Pennsylvania, many
Pennsylvania, let's go.
Yeah, represent. But many people are going to school and they don't know what they want to do. They're like, you know what? I'm going to take a political science degree. I don't really know much about politics. Somebody said to me once, I'm doing political science because I like to argue. That's what they told me their reasoning was. You know, social sciences, they do this. And when you're from a more affluent background, you can get away with it. You can get away with getting a random degree. Your daddy and mommy and all that stuff's going to get you a job. And no offense to anybody who does have that opportunity. It's great for you. But we have to, at the bottom here, in the poorest areas in the country, you need to fight for that economic life. And, you know, making that decision and being 160K in debt off the bat might be what cripples you your entire life. You're going to have that on your back your entire life. And if you end up getting the same job after college that you would have gotten out of high school anyway, that might not be the best, you know, the best outcome. So guidance counselors, somebody said in chat. Yeah, guidance counselor, the counselors at the high schools are the issue.
Nah, maybe that's maybe what we're the real disagreement. But I think for the most part I agree with you, where we're coming from Rust Belt areas, and a lot of those people that want to go into a humanities field from a really disprivileged area, moving back into a disprivileged area, expecting to, have a career waiting for them in the field that they wanted to, in the field that they spent so much fucking money on to get, is maybe a stretch.
Well, that's another thing too, like where you have to live. And I think I'm gonna watch this Destiny video talking about like that stuff as well. Like you can't live in rural Pennsylvania and get a job with a social studies degree, unless if you want to make $15 being a children and youth worker or something really crappy like that. Which those workers deserve a lot more pay, but it really is a a bad place to be in after getting that much debt.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to live in the Rust Belt just in general. Like, there's not a whole lot of jobs, honestly.
Yeah, like all right, get ready to move your entire family. Get ready to move your entire family to the coast, to a coastal city, maybe Philadelphia, maybe Pittsburgh, whatever you get lucky in, or a state capital, for example. It sucks. It really does. But
yeah,
it's what it is. Hopefully, maybe telecommunications and all that stuff can help. Telework and all that could make a better change.
Yeah. I think I'm agreeing with you on a lot of points. The main disagreement that I think I came across was the disincentivization of humanities, because there are still, depending on like what area you focus on, there's still plenty of work that you can find as a humanities major and with a humanities degree. And that shouldn't be overlooked, especially considering the cost, because the cost factor is like a major disincentivization factor for a lot of people in the humanities, even more so than STEM fields. So there's some competitive markets, especially in like the secretarian field, the HR field, stuff like that, you know what I mean? And I don't think that can be overlooked by the growing demand for STEM fields.
Yeah. Wait, Josh. Destiny argues that you can stay in Middle America and still get everything you want, and that there is no need for everybody to flood to coastal. So he disregards the concept of brain drain. He just doesn't care about that, and doesn't care about the infrastructure. Like the idea of, oh my, okay. I might have to watch this Destiny's thing and see what he says about this freaking stuff. All right, thank you for letting me explain my point on that.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, and I'm glad I could, argue with you a little bit. I'm gonna keep on watching. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about Destiny some more. So I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you. See you.
Yeah, catch you later.
Okay. Hit that like button if you didn't yet. Okay, so Destiny thinks you can get whatever you want in Rust Belt areas. You don't have to move to cities. What's up, Mohammed? Thank you. Everybody hit that subscribe button too. If you are not yet subscribed, you probably are. He doesn't get that there are certain things in coastal cities that you can't get in Middle America. Like the upscale of capital you can get just by living in a city. I mean, it's an opportunity cost. How much it does cost to live in a city. The best bet is to live in a suburb and to take a train into a city. Okay, let's just watch this.
And you never need to pick up a camera or use any fancy editing.
Grew up in a house that was bought by their parents when the income needed to purchase a property. Usually moms that do that, maybe. Feels like Destiny is missing the standard of living issue that millennials have. They grew up in a house that was bought by their parents when the income needed to purchase a property was significantly less than it is now. So now they want to keep the same standard for living, but do not have the same starting point their parents did. So they sit and complain until they halt. Dalton, I don't actually know if that's true. I would be interested in going back and looking at that. The problem is that if you have to listen to your parents, like here's what happens. This is what sounds like the story. Like this is what sounds like the story. And then I'm going to give you the missing piece at the end. When I grew up, my dad worked a single job, and he took care of my mom and me and my sister. He paid for a car. He paid for education. He sent us to school. He could do all these things. Now that I've grown up and I have my 4-year degree, I can't even pay for a house. It's ridiculous. That's bullshit. Like, that's what seems to be the case. The part missing from that, though, is my parents grew up and bought a house in rural Ohio, and I want a fucking high-rise in Manhattan. That's what feels like the difference, is that all these people complaining about the affordability of housing and the cost of living want to buy a fucking single family home in the fucking Bay Area Or they want a fucking 2-bedroom apartment in fucking downtown LA. Like, yeah, you can't afford shit. Fucking Sushia was living up in nowhere fucking Iowa, and she had like a decent, like, holy shit, this is like a 2-bedroom. This is like she was in a 2-bedroom big apartment with a roommate. And I think that their rent for that, I don't know, you can ask her. I think her rent was like $500 a month. So like, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, your parents could afford whatever, but like they weren't living in the same areas that you want to live in now. Don't you think that there is a reason
So
people
he's responding to people who are younger complaining about not being able to buy their own houses living in cities, right? And he's going to claim that they should move to more middle America, more rural areas, and buy properties there. Because if you spend $100,000 in a city, you're going to get a shitty apartment. But if you spend $100,000 in a suburb, well, not a suburb necessarily, but in a rural community or like in a big area for agriculture, you can get a big house for $100,000 or a decent house for that much money. Your own house, you could buy it for the same price it would cost to rent another house in New York for, you know, a short amount of time. I think that's what he's saying.
Moving to the coast, besides there is cooler and more popular living there. I mean, it makes more sense that these people just can't find... No, you're moving to the coast because our culture is fucking cancer. Because you guys obsess over these stupid fucking dipshit notions of the American dream.
Okay, to the coast, yes. But if I move, for example, from my rural community to the state's capital, my cost of living is going to skyrocket, but I need to do that, or I'm going to have a 2-hour way to work every single day, you know, for a government job. I'm going to need to pay that entry cost. I guess he isn't wrong about the culture surrounding moving to LA or moving to New York. Like, I see streamers going full-time and then moving to a place like California. If you are a streamer, if you are someone who works through a computer or someone that travels for work and you move to an area that has really high property costs, don't cry about it. And for streamers, don't beg your subscribers for money when you're living in an area that costs 10 times more than the area you used to live in. I see that all the time.
Going to some massive fucking city and becoming massively fucking loaded and spending your entire fucking life trying to accumulate enough money to buy enough things to make you happy because you can't find it in any of the other places besides like what fucking corporations sell you to make you feel good about yourself. That's the reason why. There is no perfect fucking reason to leave your family and friends and move to some soulless fucking American city on the coast where you could be fucking miserable commuting to and from work every single fucking day so that you can buy whatever Joe Rogan advertises to you while you're fucking popping Ambiens and trying to fall asleep to his podcast.
Okay, I agree.
I don't think there's a monumentally good reason for that. People throughout all of human history have existed without living in megaopolis fucking cities where you're crammed in like fucking sardines from wall to wall to wall to wall in these shitty
I can't imagine it, dude. Coming from a rural area, dude. Rural, you know, that accent, that coal miner town accent, you know. Coming from these areas, I love it here. I love not having people breathing down my throat. I love having cheap housing and access to our community and, you know, trails to walk in and life to see, trees everywhere, mountains. I would hate living in a coastal city. But when it comes to regular cities, you need to go to a place like that to get a job. If you go to college, you're not going to find a job in rural America for that degree. It simply isn't going to happen. Whether it's maybe if you're a doctor. If you're a doctor, you can find a good hospital somewhere. You can maybe start your own office or something for like family practice. But when it comes to engineering, political science, engineering again, like aerospace engineering, like there's different kinds of engineering. My friend wants to be an aerospace engineer. So that is like 10 levels above regular engineering. I don't know if anybody is doing engineering at all. But yeah, I love this living out here.
$1,000 a month for? I think we could probably still manage.
The people who hate capitalism the most do let themselves be prey to capitalism. But I do not want to act like I agree with Destiny's take from before, where he says, just move. That whole debate where he's like, why don't the people in cities that can't afford to live there simply move? Because the cost of actually doing that is really, really high. And the areas you're going to move to are not going to be much better than your current city. If you go to a cheap rural area, and buy a shitty house there, your standards of living is not going to improve that much over living in that city. It's a really hard move to actually make. It's a much more nuanced topic than it seems he wants to go into.
To do it today. I totally wholesale reject the reason that we absolutely need to live in one of the 5 largest fucking cities in the world in order to have meaning and happiness in our life. I'm not buying that, okay?
I agree. I mean, mostly.
Is that so wrong, though? If I want to be able to live in LA, I should be able to. It's kind of sad that those areas in this country are so inaccessible to us simply because of cost. I think that's fair. No, it's not fair. No, I'm sorry, but not everybody in the world should be able to live wherever they want to. Because you know what? It's called physics. We literally don't have the fucking space. You can't fit everybody. If everybody in the world wanted to live in LA, it doesn't work that way. You can't do it. Not everybody fits in every area. Like, we have enough space in the United States, I think, to fit. I think we have enough space in Texas to fit every single human being in the world.
Yeah, jobs pay less in rural areas, but the amount of money you make here is still a lot more, even with lower wages, than if you work in New York and make a little bit above minimum wage. Like, the property values here, oh my goodness. I saw a tiny little one-bedroom house in Pittsburgh when I visited there, and it costs $150,000 to buy. If you took $150,000 and came back to a rural area of Pennsylvania, holy crap, you can buy a 5-bedroom house with 2 bathrooms, a swimming pool in the back, a nice privacy fence. You can raise a family there, have a couple dogs. You can buy good food, have cookouts every other weekend. Like, that same amount of money, $150,000. If you move out of a city, your life can get so much better, depending on if you can keep that flow of capital up, of course. If you could find a job in those rural areas, which is really where it sucks. Because if the opportunities are not there outside of the cities, then your quality of life isn't going to increase as much as Destiny is saying. That's why I'm saying the best scenario here would be to live outside of a city and try to find a place to take a train ride. So if you live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, for example, it's a 1-hour train ride from Philadelphia. So if you do that, you can live in a cheaper area and commute to a big city. You can still get that done. That's a great option. But when it comes to the middle of these areas that are very red, there's not many good solutions for that. Not many good job opportunities other than trades. If you go into a trade like welding or something, you'll get a decent wage and a good salary and be able to buy a good house. But if you get a college degree, there won't be that much there when it comes to really scaling up your current class standing, I guess.
Like, decently spread out, I think that was true. But, like, for some reason, every single person in the world wants to go and live in, like, one of 4 cities. It was like...
U-Haul isn't that affordable to somebody who literally has no money, though. If you literally live in the middle of New York and you're tied to, I don't know what kind of a contract you're on, renting your house, and you want to move out to a rural area where you're probably going to have to buy a house or rent a really shitty one. There's a big problem where I am, for example, of landlords letting their properties go to shit, and then they give these properties to people in the cities who want to get out of the cities. So they're invited into this community that have no economic opportunities. They are put into a terrible house. 1-2 bedrooms, the siding's falling off, the shingles are falling off, the water barely runs, really dirty. So they're taken from that situation to this situation. There's still no jobs for them in this area. So how are they actually going to have their quality of life increased? It's more complicated than simply moving. And even if there is simply only a mental barrier for some people, that still is a big thing as well when you're born into a poor area. The mentality of being poor is very powerful. And unless if you can sit down and give a pep talk to each individual person to move, give a pep talk of why you need to do it, and if you make every perfect decision, you might be able to improve your life if you leave everything that you know. Even if you can have a pep talk with everybody, it still might not work. So therefore, we need to focus on only systemic fixes to this and tell each person as well at the same time, these are the steps that you might have to take, and you have to try to take those steps and all that stuff.
Picture where it's like what people think San Francisco looks like, and it's like a beautiful picture of the downtown and all the big buildings and everything. And then it was a second picture of like what San Francisco actually looks like. And it's like, it's this. The single family housing fucking dystopia. This part of the American dream can work, but it can't work in conjunction with everybody living in 2 areas. The American dream, for whatever fucking reason, is to own a fucking house. That's like the American dream. And that's fine. If you want to own a house, it works. But everybody can have a house in the same fucking city.
Yeah, I agree with
Your job
with
would
Destiny.
allow you to live anywhere in the world. Why do you live in LA?
I mean, I can live in LA because I can afford it.
Been a non-sub viewer / fan for about a year. Figured I would get a tier 4 sub to make up for that. Thanks for all you did during the Georgia.
There are affordable cities to move to, though, to be fair. Where? Like, what's an affordable city to move to? And what do you mean by affordable? Do you mean having nothing and moving to that city? Or do you mean having good money and then moving to that city anyway? Coastal cities there really aren't, but I guess middle America wouldn't be too bad. And do you mean in the city or in a suburb around the city? There's a lot of things to consider.
Election.
Thanks.
Keep up all the good work.
I didn't move to LA and demand that people restructure their property taxes, their income taxes, and their cost of living and their rent
Thanks for
control
joining the
to
stream.
accommodate
Please
me
drop a
wanting
like
to
and
move
subscribe.
here. I have the money to afford to live here. Like, that's why I live here. But when I was fucking poor and cleaning carpets, you better fucking believe I wouldn't try to move to a place like LA. Or even when I was going to graduate from college. If I would have graduated from college, I probably wouldn't have moved to
That's
fucking
just
LA.
straw, man. There aren't
But then you
people
bet-
cleaning carpets who are trying to move to LA, right? It's usually people who are going to be, you know, they want to be Hollywood famous or something and act, or maybe get famous on TikTok. I don't see people moving into big cities just because. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Suburb and commuting into a city is easier. Buy a pass to the train and ride a train to work. Isn't Pelosi in San Francisco? Yeah, Shapiro said before your house goes underwater, just sell it to Aquaman. Middle America, suburban city, depending on financial situation. Well, this is really a case-by-case thing. The argument Destiny is presenting is, you know, you can't cry about everybody not being able to live in California. And if you can move, you should move, or stop complaining about it, right? But there are people who can't move. But I would also say it's sort of, can I say it's a moral responsibility somewhat of a person who is overcrowding the area that can move, not to move? Because if there are people in, say, you know, downtown LA that literally don't have the resources to get out whatsoever, they have a bunch of other people around them who can get out, and they're helping to overcrowd that community. Is it bad for that person to stay if they can get out, or if they can move somewhere cheaper? Especially if they're complaining about living there. So they're driving up costs for everybody, but then someone else would move in anyway. But yeah, Nancy's in. What about all of the people living in a city before the price of living skyrockets? Atlanta has plenty of areas with average rent $700. See? Oh my goodness. I couldn't imagine paying that much for rent. For nothing less than a couple bedroom house. Like,
Why did I choose LA?
but I have, just remember, I have the perspective of somebody from Hickville, Pennsylvania, rural, you know, Rust Belt. I have that perspective, so it might be different from the entire country. But just on principle, it is a lot more than simply moving. Like, just move, I don't know.
Because it seems to be a place for like content creators and shit. But after this, it's either going to be Miami or Austin. So.
I'm a law-abiding
Oh
citizen.
no. But Destiny's really talking about coastal cities right now. And his argument also is that capitalism and social reasons are what makes people want to move there, not actually economic opportunity, which I do agree with that. Let's move to LA, guys. Let's go to California.
I don't think people move to these cities for cultural reasons. I think it's completely the result of a snowball of economic agglomeration, creating huge opportunity for high school people. I don't agree with that, Eric. I don't think that's true. I don't think that.
No, because if it's really about that, you can move to a different city, like Nashville or, Jesus, like you were saying in chat, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston. There's so many cities, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Cleveland. These places have opportunity. Yeah, like you don't need to move to New York or California to capitalize on your degree. No, I'm not going to move to San Francisco. I'm never going to have that much money. If I ever have enough money to move to San Francisco, if I ever have that money, I'm going to build a mansion in freaking Pennsylvania, okay? I'm buying a nice mansion in the woods. I'm going to build a fence and build my underground bunker to survive the apocalypse. But we can all live down there. Don't worry. We can put our money together and have like an underground civilization or something.
I think that there's more compensation in places like California than like Missouri for people with high skill degrees.
Carpet
for sure.
cleaning in LA is called being a porn star.
But I don't think that that compensation is adequate for uprooting your entire life, moving to a whole other area, and then having the increased cost of living as well. I don't think the compensation is that high. And then also, this is just going by like personal experience as well. I don't think... like the view of living in like the Midwest and everything is like you just got to get out. You go to escape. I don't know who else lived in like small towns or small cities, but like if you stayed in your state after graduating college, you're a fucking loser. Like literally, people will look down at you as being a fucking loser. And I didn't live in, and to be clear, I didn't live in like a fucking small shitter
Holt
village.
bunker.
Okay, we didn't wake up every morning and go suck the fucking cow off for our breakfast. Okay, I lived in a real metropolitan area, population over 1 million. Okay, the Omaha metro population is over 1 million. Oh fuck,
With
I thought it was.
ownership being super
Yeah, well,
expensive,
people
there
don't
should
think
be
I'm
some
white.
kind
I'm
of
white half the
person that
time.
can lease somebody a place
Where
to
I'm
live in
from,
these
so you'd
busy
have an issue
areas
here.
that they otherwise wouldn't have the capital to purchase for a consistent rate monthly.
3 bedroom,
pay.
365 a month.
This is like a big ass fucking city.
I know that this is an edge case, but for example, in the animation industry, most of the good paying jobs and good studios are in the coast. Would you say it's still not worth
I'm
it?
sorry.
I'm
I'm
if
sorry
the
for living in
question is
Alabama
dumb.
Uh,
for you.
I don't know. I mean, it depends. It depends. I don't think that if every single animator across the country feels like they need to go to one area, seems like it's probably not a good thing. It's not going to work. But like, yeah, like even people like in Omaha felt like if you stayed in here, you're like a little small town nobody.
I'd have
that
to
just
see
needs
some
fucking
numbers.
Leave the fucking city and get the fuck out.
On like who's moving there,
this is
why
what
they're
Twitter's
saying
Wouldn't
they're
it be
moving
smart you to
there.
think San Francisco is like versus what San Francisco is actually like? True.
It's not just immediate compensation. External economies allows a small area like Silicon Valley to have hundreds of companies allowing future advancement options and a plethora of labor options. In Missouri, you have a
Hold
tiny
on, I'm pausing
fraction of
donations.
that.
I think you're just wrong. You know what? I'm gonna say that you're just wrong.
Is this really a hot take though? Like this isn't really a crazy take. Like don't move to LA if you can't afford moving to LA, and don't complain about it. Move to a nice city. There's a lot of nice places in this country. I don't see why this is a hot take. Can anybody fill me in on why this is considered a hot take? Well, yeah, community too. Like, yeah, just move your entire life. I guess if you're like a really introverted person who doesn't really care about the sense of community, and you don't care about your family that lives somewhere, and you don't want to live next to them. And Destiny seems to not care much about that. He lives, like, you know, being somebody who flies across the country so much. Like for me, I want to be around my family. I want to see my family a couple times a week. So it's a little bit like that. And I mean, like, you know, I want to be around that community sense. And if that isn't big to you, I understand having this mentality. But like if I had a kid or something, I would never, even if it was like a custody agreement, I probably wouldn't be okay with being across the country 24/7 just so I could live in LA or something. Like personally, I wouldn't like that. So it might like shift your view if you care about that community sense, if you care about living in a, you know, certain area, or, you know, you don't want to move from your city, from your neighborhood where you came from. That's a big thing, especially if your family lived there for generations. It's hard to do. It costs money. You don't know what's on the other side. It's scary, you know. Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, 4,000 subs. I have to find out how to make new clickbait content to get more subscribers. I'm doing decent, you know. Doing all right. Yeah, the just move debate with Destiny was a big thing a while back. I can see why he thinks it's that easy, though. I wish I could do that, dude. I wish I didn't care about that stuff. It'd be so... I would move right now, honestly. I would move from my area if I didn't care about that community stuff and knowing people and family. Living more than an hour away from your family would kill you. Yeah, so that's a big difference. And that goes into a lot of psychological stuff, your performance on a job, your happiness in, you know, real life in general. 70% of the country is, yeah, really, carbon copies. Rural areas are the same. They have the same setup. They have the same people. They have the same grocery stores. due to capitalism, the model is repeated across the country. There's a lot of nice places to live, and you can get the same experience in a lot of different states and a lot of different areas and different houses and all that stuff. And well, if you live, weren't Destiny and Vosh talking about people who, like, when Destiny and Vosh talked about just move, wasn't that about, or whoever Destiny, was that Vosh? Wasn't it about somebody literally like in a ghetto or something, or in a place congruent to a ghetto? Like, it isn't that easy to leave. If you have two people making $15 an hour, there is no real middle class in America. That's a myth, essentially. You're either wealthy enough to move and buy houses, or you're not. I don't think they were talking about true middle class people. And what do you mean by middle class? Do you mean actual middle class, like $200,000 a year, or do you mean like America middle class, like $50,000 a year? Because the new middle class, I think most people consider to be like $50,000, $70,000, $100,000 a year to be middle class, and that changes depending on where you are. Of course, homeless people can't leave, but even somebody who, you know, is living paycheck to paycheck, you want them to just leave as if that's so easy? Zaxby's in the South, yeah. I've been there once. It's all right. New middle class in a expensive city. Yeah, I agree with that, yeah. But I thought their conversation was different. Yeah, LA is a different conversation, though. I'm looking at this holistically. Maybe that is the issue here. Like, when Destiny talks about these issues like Just Move, he's only talking about his stereotype of Zoomers wanting to live in LA and to live in fancy cities and have the lifestyle that they see on social media. He isn't talking about somebody who's living outside of a state capital in Montana, or like they're living in a city in Philadelphia and they're dirt poor and want to move somewhere else. He isn't talking about that person in Philadelphia. He's talking about somebody in LA. So yeah, maybe that is the difference in what we're talking about here. If we can't decide upon what we're actually, because America's so varied, we have like 50 combined countries in this nation. Okay, LA with their friends. Yeah, that's totally different. They got to talk about that when they're debating, because it ruins the conversation. Because if Destiny, when he talks about people on the left, if he talks about people on the left and also Zoomers, when he literally just means his stereotypical image of a lefty, of an annoying lefty who doesn't know anything about the real world, if that's going to be his definition for this and his perspective on it, you need to note that first before the conversation, or it's not going to be productive. Yeah, you think that's a good middle ground? Yeah, I mean, gotta live somewhere with a good train. Straw man, yeah, but it's lefty, so. Homeless in the Sun Belt. People ignore what's going on up here. Well, he's... It's actually kind of funny because he's saying that people who want to do this and move to LA are ignoring other things, but he in turn is ignoring the rest of the country. Like what's happening in the Rust Belt, what's happening in other areas, possibly. I don't know, though. Any online conversation, I've brought this up many, many freaking times before. I can't talk. I brought this up many times before about how, like, all these conversations online are geared towards freaking California. Literally 90% of the people I watch are from California or Washington or some type of state that fits this stereotype Destiny is talking about. So that's why I think so much is lacking in online discourse, because I don't know anybody that's from an actual rural area. I know Mike from PA is from Pennsylvania, but I looked up where he's actually from, and it's a pretty wealthy place in Pennsylvania, a really wealthy part of Pennsylvania. So that doesn't count. Who is the rural representative of lefty Twitter? Does anybody have one? Because I'd be really interested in that. I don't know if and by rural, I mean literally like 99% white racist, rural. Farmer streamers. Yeah, he's from Nebraska. Yeah, he's from Nebraska. Okay.
I guarantee you that there are a ton of fucking software developers, computer engineers, data analysts, software devs, blah, 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 that all probably work in Kansas City, and they probably work just fine. I bet they have jobs in buildings. I bet they do a bunch of fucking work, and I bet that all of these people manage to pay their bills. And
Well,
have excess
yeah,
money.
Faced America. They got so rich, they moved to the coast. That's why I thought it wasn't a hot take. So I want to ask you guys. Is the reason I think this isn't a hot take because I'm from an area like I'm from? Is that the reason I don't... Oh, yeah, Bo from fifth column. But is that the reason I don't think it's a hot take? Is it because I'm not in the culture he's criticizing? I'm a poor boy from a rural area, so I don't understand it? Is that the issue here?
And do just fine. I don't think that the only fucking tech
Because
jobs that
I'm
exist in the
pragmatic,
entire
yeah,
fucking
okay.
country exist on the coast. I don't think that's true. And live boring fucking lives. What the fuck kind of life are you living in fucking LA? Like, what are you guys talking about? How many software devs do you know go to move to San Francisco and then are out like fucking partying or surfing every other fucking day? What do you mean? Most of you people live miserable fucking lives.
True.
Fucking 25% of you millennial fucks are on antidepressants or SSRIs or some shit.
Preach.
Like, what, you guys...
Erica, I do hate my town.
out here acting like you're living your best life, like you're happy and fulfilled, and you're not all like on the verge of breaking down into midlife crises because you realize that like the dream of like going to college and getting some soulless fucking corporate job and then moving to San Francisco and living in some tiny fucking corner of the world for your entire life like isn't making you happy. Like, we're gonna pretend that these people that all moved to these massive cities are having like the most fun that they ever could have had any other place in their world? Like, come on, dude. Whatever they're doing, it's available in these big cities, unlike in the Midwest where half of every idea you could ever have about what to do in life is unachievable there. Well, like, what do you mean by that?
Nope. You lose out so much about life in a big city. You need to have quiet time, watching snowfall and walking through the forest and watching, go hiking, do all this stuff that's actually good about life, dude. You can take whatever's in that city and freaking extrapolate that shit across the country in any city. That shit is not unique to LA. That shit is not unique to that place. The culture that people put onto LA is unique. But it doesn't need to be that way. There are great things all over this freaking country that's bigger than flashing lights and homeless people everywhere. They don't fix that issue over there, by the way. When they should do something about it. Do my friends think I need to get out of my town immediately? Yeah, everybody says that, but people still come back because they don't know how to leave. But it's one of the cheapest places to live in America. I'm based in rural Rust Belt. That's all you need to know. Rural Rust Belt. Travel, yeah. And by the way, traveling too, you don't need to spend tons of money to go traveling. Oh my God, dude. If you live along the Appalachian Trail, you can find so many cool hiking destinations that have so many freaking cool waterfalls. Holy crap, there's so many beautiful things to see in the world that doesn't include moving to a zombified version of reality in a city, and doesn't include spending a lot of money. All you need is a freaking tank of gas to get this shit done and to enjoy life, dude. Freaking blasting music, driving at night and shit, going and hiking up a big ass mountain and taking pictures off the freaking mountain, dude. Going swimming somewhere random, going off a freaking, taking pictures in front of a freaking 500-foot waterfall somewhere. You could do all this shit. I love this place that I'm in. I love all the trails. I love all the seasons. I would hate living in LA. I think LA would be like freaking hell to me. It never snows. The same weather year round. Are you kidding me? I would hate that shit, dude. It seems so superficial. No, don't worry. I'll get doxxed when I run for public office anyway, like Mike from PA did. Yeah, going up to a lake, dude. Just sitting there hanging out. Yeah, LA has no soul. LA is where good things don't happen. LA is literally gonna fall off the map when there's a big earthquake and California falls into the ocean. Because of the fault line. Mike from CC... Oh, don't say CCP. Say redacted. I don't want to dox him. I don't want to dox the guy. Come on. All the homeless people in LA are in LA, little racist hick towns. Double wide trailer. Yeah, Northeast. Well, Washington. Holy crap, dude. The mountains up there. I want to go there. There's so many mountains all across the country, though. Colorado and up there, too. Middle America is really what sucks. If you live in, like, Montana or something. Well, actually, no, not Montana. I don't know my map. And I don't want big cities to become Japan. Like, have you ever seen a picture of Tokyo and how, like, everybody lives on top of each other in huge, like, skyscrapers and all that stuff? And they're so depressed in Japan. It's so robotic and soulless and dark and sad. Hey, your state doesn't have better nature. It has a different nature, okay? All nature matters. There's some cool mountains here. Zion in Utah. My ideal place to live someday is an hour away from a city in a quiet area with good nature, with a varied season. So it snows sometimes. You know, it's hot in the summers. There's a nice fall. You see all the leaves fall, all that shit, you know? That's where I want to live. I don't want to live in a city. I don't want to live in the middle of nowhere, dude. I want the perfect in between. All right, before I end this stream for tonight. Hell yeah, though. I get to celebrate for free content since I can clip this and post it as something, but that's pretty cool. I'm happy about that. Somebody made this. Whoever made this, are you in chat right now? So somebody heard that I rap. No, I'm not saying Japan isn't cool to visit, but they literally have like the highest suicide rates in the world. Like the gilding on the outside doesn't really matter. They're in like a constant gilded age. Toronto. But somebody sent me this. So they found out that I rap. Oh my god. So Nas Illmatic is the let me get the original cover up real quick. Let me get it. All right, so here's the original. Nas Illmatic. So Illmatic, parental advisory, explicit lyrics, and Nas. So get ready. Jolah, Nas, Illmatic, Pragmatic, parental advisory, explicit lyrics, grifter advisory, actual progress. Oh, big thank you to whoever made this amazing picture. I'll probably make it an emote or something. God, this is so good. Pragmatic, grifter advisory, actual. Oh my god. Damn. You're one of the few black people where you live. Oh yeah, these areas are freaking racist. Very racist. But I mean, you could find some cool college towns to live in that are more accepting, you know. You know, those towns you walk into and it's like the movie Get Out. You see all the signs everywhere that say equality in like 10 different languages. All right. Good night, everybody. If you are not subscribed, which I'm sure you are, please do so. Yeah, rural area racism is going to be hard to stop. But hopefully good good class politics maybe can overpower the culture war. In theory, there is a way to get real political power. There are a lot of voters that went from Obama to Trump, and we need to find out exactly why they went from Obama to Trump and to seize upon that. All right. Thank you for subbing. What, Andrew? No. Okay. All right. You're white. You're white. You're all white.